It's week 6, and for this week's experiment, we are doing the pasta rocket, which is going to be kind of creating like a little rocket fuel. These engines are usually made out of solid fuel, liquid fuel, or a hybrid, which uses a combustible source and a gas oxidizer like oxygen. So with this experiment, we'll be using pasta, yeast, and hydrogen peroxide. So it's a hybrid fuel. The pasta is actually going to be the fuel. It's a complex carb. And then the oxygen that comes from the hydrogen peroxide is going to be an oxidizer. And the yeast is just going to have the enzyme that kind of catalyzes the whole reaction and makes things go a little bit faster. So I just have like store-bought hydrogen peroxide. I'm actually running a little low, so hopefully this is enough for it to work still. But I'm going to just pour that in the jar. And then I already have my hole punched into my mason jar lid. And we're not going to use this. I made it sound kind of dangerous on the YouTube video that was posted, but and then I have my yeast, and I have my lighter ready on standby too. So first we'll do the experiment, then we'll talk about it. But I'll put the yeast in. I'll kind of do this so that you can see too. And it's starting to bubble, and I'm gonna kind of push this down. I had the pasta ready because I kind of had to jam it in there. All right, and I'm gonna give it a good swivel. And then, I don't hear a lot of noises going on. I don't know. Based on that YouTube video, it sounded like they had a lot more sizzling and stuff. Like I said though, my pasta's running low. Or my hydrogen peroxide's running low. So it's catching on a little bit. I feel like I'm mostly burning pasta. And a crazy reaction happened in the jar, but nothing really. All right. Okay. Well, so this is my first experiment that actually didn't work, but I know that from looking at the video you posted, it's actually supposed to light up, and then the fuels are going to keep it burning. But so hypothetically, we would say that if this worked, the pasta would kind of combust, and then the enzymes from the yeast would catalyze the production of the oxygen, and then that reaction would be the other half of the fuel that we need to create the rocket. So it did start bubbling pretty quickly. That was very fast that it created this reaction down here. I think the biggest thing is that I didn't have maybe enough hydrogen peroxide, which I didn't know that I wasn't going to have. Another thing is probably the hole in my jar. Like, I feel like the seal's not that great. I don't know how important it is to get all those fumes going through the noodle. I also used penne. And then, let me see some of my other notes here. I don't know. It would have been cool to see it definitely continuing to burn at like a steady rate. But I understand the concept of it, so that's a cool potential reaction. Maybe if I were to have other supplies, I would try again. But that's really it for this week's experiment. And like I said, rocket fuel could be hybrid or liquid or solid, but I knew either way it's going to need that amount of energy to get the reaction going. So, till next week.